Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Tonight, we're examining a tangled web of geopolitics that threatens global oil supplies. Iran's nuclear ambitions have the U.S., America's largest trading partner, at odds with the Islamic Republic. Meanwhile, the Emirate of Dubai has surprised markets by announcing its withdrawal from OPEC, fueling concerns over an impending Middle Eastern oil crisis. We'll break down the implications for American households and explore why China may emerge as a beneficiary in this complex scenario. Let's dive into our news recap. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a growing number of nations are realizing they've been holding onto a hand that's about to fold. The Iran-US conflict has been unfolding in an uneasy post-ceasefire phase, with both sides struggling to utilize their leverage effectively. At the heart of this stalemate lies a peculiar dynamic. Neither Washington nor Tehran can fully exploit their military advantages without imposing significant costs. The Iranian side is anchored by its geography, which allows it to maintain control over the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. This choke point has been a focal point for tensions between Iran and Western nations since 2015, when Washington withdrew from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA) nuclear deal with Tehran. Tehran's strategy relies on the strait's strategic importance, which makes it an invaluable prize in any conflict. By keeping the waterway blocked, Iran has been able to restrict the flow of oil and gas through the region, thereby exerting pressure on global markets. Meanwhile, the United States wields considerable naval power in the Persian Gulf, allowing it to sustain pressure on Iranian ports and shipping lanes. This leverage was evident during a recent incident where U.S. warships intercepted an Iranian oil tanker suspected of smuggling oil into Syria. However, despite their combined military might, neither side can push each other's buttons without incurring substantial costs. Washington has sought to isolate Iran economically through sanctions, but Tehran has shown remarkable resilience in the face of these pressures. Conversely, any attempt by the U.S. to close in on its naval advantage could lead to a wider conflict that would destabilize the entire region. The post-ceasefire phase of this conflict is marked by a delicate dance between deterrence and exploitation, one that neither side can fully master. As tensions continue to simmer, it remains to be seen whether either Washington or Tehran will find a way to break free from this trap of unusable leverage. Now, a new analysis raises questions about the impact of America's energy dominance in the Middle East on its own economy and household budgets. The Trump administration has repeatedly cited the U.S.'s self-sufficiency in oil production as a reason for its leniency towards Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. However, this argument is based on a flawed premise. In reality, while the U.S. does produce more oil than it did during the 1970s, it still relies heavily on imported Gulf oil. According to data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, in 2020, the U.S. imported over 2 million barrels of crude oil per day from Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states. The Strait of Hormuz, which separates Iran from the Persian Gulf, is a critical choke point for global energy trade. The U.S. has a long history of prioritizing its own interests when it comes to this region, dating back to the 1950s. In recent years, Trump's administration has taken a more isolationist approach, seeking to reduce America's reliance on foreign oil and assert its dominance in the Middle East. But the reality is that American households still pay the price for global energy fluctuations. The prices of oil, which are largely determined by events in the Middle East, have a direct impact on U.S. consumers. When tensions rise in the region, or when conflicts disrupt oil production, the prices at the pump can skyrocket. This has significant implications for ordinary Americans, who are forced to absorb the costs of global instability. The Trump administration's claims about its own energy independence are therefore deeply misleading. The U.S. is still locked into a global energy system that is shaped by events in the Middle East. As tensions in the region continue to escalate, U.S. officials are reportedly exploring a partial deal that could pave the way for a return to normal shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. The United States is exploring a potential partial agreement with Iran aimed at reopening the Strait of Hormuz, according to a report published in the Washington Post. This development comes after months of tensions between the two nations over maritime traffic in the region. According to a Pakistani official familiar with the matter, who spoke on condition of anonymity due to the sensitivity of the discussions, Iran has asked the U.S. to lift its blockade imposed on its ports in exchange for reopening the strategic waterway to maritime traffic. The blockade, which was first implemented by the U.S. in January 2020, has severely impacted Iran's oil exports and economy. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, and it is a key route for international shipping, including oil tankers. A reopening would allow for increased maritime traffic, benefiting not only Iran but also other regional countries reliant on sea trade. This potential agreement matters significantly due to its implications for global energy markets and the stability of the Middle East region. The Strait of Hormuz has been a flashpoint in recent years due to tensions between Iran and other nations, including the U.S. A partial reopening could signal a de-escalation of these tensions and potentially ease the economic burden on Iran. However, details of any potential agreement remain scarce at this point, and it is unclear whether an arrangement can be reached that meets both parties' demands. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, former U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Iran, saying it needs to get smart soon. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's news recap. We're following a developing story in the Middle East, where tensions between the U.S. and Iran remain high. According to sources close to the negotiations, efforts by Washington and Tehran to end hostilities have stalled, leaving both sides stuck on key issues. The United States has been pushing for a comprehensive deal that would limit Iran's nuclear capabilities, while Iran is demanding greater concessions in exchange for its commitment to denuclearization. However, President Donald Trump has taken a more aggressive tone, warning Iran that they better get smart soon. In a post on his Truth Social platform, the U.S. leader made a provocative statement, saying that Iran can't sign a non-nuclear deal and implying that Tehran needs to show greater willingness to compromise. The illustration accompanying the post was seen as a clear reference to Trump's own brand of tough talk. The reaction from Iranian officials has been swift and dismissive. A spokesperson for the Iranian government described Trump's comments as unacceptable and warned that they would only fuel further tensions between the two nations. This latest development raises concerns about the prospects for a lasting peace agreement and whether the U.S. and Iran are truly committed to finding common ground. We'll continue to monitor this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that tensions remain high in the region, and a resolution to the crisis is far from certain. As tensions in the Middle East escalate with ongoing conflict in Iran, the implications for global oil markets are starting to reveal a surprising beneficiary. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's news recap. In a move that could boost China's access to oil supplies, the United Arab Emirates has announced its intention to withdraw from OPEC, effectively ending its participation in the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. This development comes at a time when tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia are escalating, with the Strait of Hormuz facing increased disruption due to the ongoing conflict. The UAE's exit could provide China, one of the world's largest importers of oil, with additional supply options. According to analysts, the UAE's withdrawal from OPEC will increase flexibility in global oil markets, potentially leading to lower prices for major buyers like China. For a buyer, any potential supply increase is positive as it means pressure on prices, said Muyu Su, a senior crude oil analyst at Kpler. Su noted that China imported 692,000 barrels per day from the UAE in 2025, accounting for 6% of its seaborne imports. Other analysts agree that the UAE's departure could lead to more readily available supply beyond OPEC constraints. With the UAE being more flexible to increase production, China may be able to tap the former's oil quickly if they are in favor of buying in the spot market, said Jun Go, a senior oil market analyst at Sparta Commodities. China's access to additional supply could have significant implications for its economy and energy security. As one of the world's largest importers of oil, China is heavily reliant on imports from countries like Saudi Arabia and Russia. The UAE's withdrawal from OPEC adds a new dynamic to global oil markets, with potential benefits for major buyers like China. That's all for today's news recap. Thank you for joining us. For the latest on global politics and economics, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll keep you updated on the biggest stories as they unfold. Don't miss out on our in-depth analysis and expert insights. Until next time, stay informed and stay ahead of the curve.